This chyme is no longer like the bread you ate. Now, let us look at digestion in the stomach. The bolus has entered the stomach and the stomach walls have produced gastric juice. Let us start by looking at the layers of the stomach wall. This first layer from inside is known as mucosa. The second layer is known as submucosa. In the third position, we have muscle layers. And the fourth layer is known as serosa. Let us look at the mucosa in detail. The moist inner layer of the stomach, also known as mucosa, is dotted with millions of gastric pits, which lead to gastric glands. Gastric glands secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice is a mixture of mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive enzymes. This enlarged image is a portion on the mucosa. It shows us the gastric pits and the gastric gland. All this is the gastric gland. These cells in the gastric gland have different functions. These are known as mucus cells. Mucus cells found in the gastric pits of the stomach secrete mucus. This mucus spreads across the surface of the mucosa to coat the lining of the stomach with a thick acid and enzyme-resistant barrier. You can call it protective gel. The function of mucus is to prevent acids from digesting and destroying the stomach lining. Right here, we have parietal cells. Parietal cells found in the gastric glands of the stomach produce two important secretions. These are intrinsic factor and hydrochloric acid. Intrinsic factor is an important protein that helps the body to absorb vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is needed for red blood cells to form and grow and to maintain the central nervous system, which includes the brain and spinal cord. Now let us look at the functions of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. Function 1. Hydrochloric acid allows pepsinogen to convert to pepsin within the stomach. Pepsinogen is the inactive form of pepsin. Function 2. Hydrochloric acid helps to kill bacteria and other pathogens that may have been ingested. Function 3. Hydrochloric acid also helps to digest proteins by denaturing them into an unfolded shape that is easier for enzymes to digest. Right here, we have got the chief cells. Chief cells found in the gastric glands within the gastric pit of the stomach release enzymes that break down proteins. These are pepsin and rennin. The chief cells actually produce pepsinogen, an inactive form of pepsin. Pepsin is the active protein digesting enzyme. Hydrochloric acid allows pepsinogen to convert to pepsin within the stomach. Pepsin breaks down proteins into peptones. Rennin acts on milk proteins. It clots milk proteins and separates them from fat. Rennin is active only in infants. The digestion of proteins starts in the stomach. Folks, we are looking at digestion in the stomach. Muscular contractions in the stomach churn its contents to further break down the bolus and mix it with stomach secretions, also known as gastric juice, to form a thick liquid called chyme. This chyme is no longer like the bread you ate. It is now in a liquidy form. Right here, there is a sphincter. It is known as pyloric sphincter. The pyloric sphincter has two functions. One, it regulates digestion. When the sphincter is contracted, it holds food in the stomach, allowing the digestive juices to do their work. This breaks down the food into a substance called chyme. Once the food has broken down, the sphincter opens and allows it to enter the duodenum. Function 2. It prevents reflux. You can also call it backflow. The tightening of the pyloric sphincter prevents the food from coming back into the stomach. From the stomach, chyme passes through the pyloric sphincter into the small